This
meeting is
conference
called to
will
order.
now be recorded.
I'd like to establish a quorum. The first thing, Frank Thorwald.
Stephen
Hail
Cooper.
Nations.
Stephen Cooper.
Bill Fire.
We have a quorum. Also on the line with us is Acting Administrator Dennis Turner, and from the AG's office, Jay Scarlton. The first order of business is the public hearing of Ranger Development. We'll start off with a presentation from Ranger Development on this. Also, just to let the public know, any comments provided by the public shall not exceed 3 minutes per speaker. The overall comment period shall not exceed 10 minutes per side. The commission shall have the authority to end the public discussion that exceeds 10 minutes per side or 20 minutes in total. Do we have somebody from Ranger?
Yeah, Tony Hines, project manager for Ranger Development.
Tony, would you proceed, please?
Did you hear me?
Okay, we have a drilling program that we have started to get permitted. There's a total of 10 wells, 9 wells of which are over on the O'Neill lands. We have actually submitted all of those filings. 8 of those 9 wells were all at legal locations. This particular well that we'll present here in section 31 of 20 North, 27 East actually falls outside of the normal legal location for a Coconino well. And so we have 2 requests to make on this one. One is increased density and one is location exception. The well, on the picture on the screen is the plat, the registered plat. You can see our existing well marked Ranger Development 31-1. The new well, the 31-7 well, is just to the southeast of it. And as you can see, we're at 1,424 feet from the lease line instead of the 1660 required. That's the reason for the location exception. And then also to point out, the Ranger Development 31-1 has been in production, and it's been in production in the Coconino pool zone. So therefore, in accordance with, I believe it's B under 107, to have another well in the same pool, we need permission from the commission also. The 31-7 geologic is a little bit up dip. The production's dropped off in the 31-1. And so that's the reason for the well to go up dip, get a little higher, get more Coconino production, and in that particular well. The reason why we had to put the well a little bit to the south outside the normal drilling window is because there's an archaeological site activity just to the north of us, so we had to move it south just that little bit to out of the 1660 window to be able to place the location and stay away from the archaeological site. We have notified the offset leaseholder, current lessee, which is Cimarex Price, that you know, and that we also have dealings with. They received certified mail of the hearing also.
Administrator Turner, do you have any comments or any discussion you can add to what Tony has said, Mr. Hines?
Not this time. I would just remind all the people in the meeting to mute your computer, please, unless you're speaking, to eliminate the background noise. So, Tony, do you want the next slide?
Yeah, go ahead, please. There's just an additional slide that shows the actual topographic location. The blue line is our existing road coming in from the highway and where our pipeline currently goes to our existing 31-1 well. It demonstrates it's in the quarter section northeast southwest. That well's has both Coconino and Shinnerup production in it, and it shows the location of the 31-7 in the northwest to southeast quarter 40 acre spacing there, should we need to come to the Shinnerup if the Coconino is not productive. And the yellow line there is the proposed route that we would come in off of the existing road to that location. And if you would go down one more slide, the last one we have is just to show all of the wells that have existed or do exist in the area at this time.
Look at them.
And you can see there's several P&A wells in the area. The productive well is our 31-1 Navajo Springs active, and we have the proposed well in section 6 and section 5 to go in for Shinnerup only production in those sections. And that's really all we've got. We just asked for the approval of the location exception and the increased density for the Coconino.
Thank you, Mr. Hines. Administrator Turner, do you have any additional comments on that before we ask for the commissioners to their thoughts?
I do not recommend approval.
Uh,
The application is complete.
Commissioners, do you have any questions?
Mr. Chair, this is Stephen Cooper. Just a notation for Mr. Hines. On the screen, the map's in front of you, the P&A that is for plug and abandon. I just want to make sure that that's correct.
The Santa Fe well, the wells that are all on there were the old P&A well plug and abandoned wells that are in the area.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Firebrand?
Yeah, just to be clear, Tony, the reason to move this is to get out of an archaeological site. And that basically is the reason to move it a little bit, to get away from them. And so you could, but that allows you to avoid the archaeological site, but still hit the Coconino. Is that correct?
That's correct. That is correct.
Thank you.
I hit the Coconino. Okay, I have a question.
Commissioner Nations?
Yes.
Any questions?
No, looks good to me. I'm wondering what the archaeological site is.
Anasazi. Yeah, that's Tony Anasazi.
You mean a wall? Is there a wall there, or a pit house, or what?
No, it was just a lot of pottery shards in the area to the north. I don't think they actually found a kiva or a wall, but I could, I've got the report. I could send that. Also,
That's good enough for me.
Thank you. Public comments? Anybody from the public want to make any comments?
Dr. Kevin Gibson, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Right, I'm with Protect Our Water Arizona. I'm particularly concerned about increasing density and breaking spacing regulations for basically two reasons. One is I live up here and it's a very fragile environment. And what's more, it's becoming more so due to the drought. When I run two horse pastures, which I used to alternate every year, and they used to recover because we had about 12 inches of rain. Last year we got like 2. So the environment is getting more and more fragile, and well pads and access roads damage said environment. So when we start exempting spacing and allowing higher density, we are damaging the environment and the total ecosystem considerably. In addition to which, if we keep giving exemptions at a high rate, and I could not find a refusal on the exemption when I looked through past historical records. But if we do that, we start not really having exceptions, but we just clear them as the road, and that nullifies the actual regulations in the road. So I would like the Commission to consider that when looking at this case. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? Is there any other members of the public?
Martha Pierce, also with Protect Our Water Arizona. My question is this going to take water out of the Coconino Aquifer? And does this lie under any protection of their old aquifer protection permit, since it's not in the same location as their previously 80 permitted wells?
Would you like me to address? Yeah, would you like me to address that, or?
Please.
Okay. Yeah, no, the Coconino in this area is very salty. It's not like down on the Little Colorado to the south where it's actually fresh water. This particular area is in the range of 50,000 to 60,000 parts per million. So it's a very salty area. We won't be pulling water out. I hope I find just gas in the well, that we're only going for the gas in that. So.
And is this natural gas you're going for?
It's actually very inert gas. It's like 92% nitrogen and 8% helium, approximately. It's not natural gas, i.e. hydrocarbon gas.
It's helium you're drilling for?
Yeah, we're drilling for helium, yes, ma'am. And
how deep are your wells going with this permit?
It's about 950 feet is about the depth of where the Coconino's at, top of the Coconino, approximately.
Again, I would just like to say, as Kevin pointed out, the fact that oil and gas doesn't seem to ever have an exemption or stoppage for this continue shifting that Ranger specifically has done over the years. They've put wells up that they wouldn't even let us know because the information was proprietary. But I feel that really a closer look needs to be paid attention to not only the exceptions, but the fact that this state is going to shrivel and dry up, and we happen to live here, and this is not acceptable. So oil and gas needs to step up to the plate and start paying attention to something just than money, because water is going to become much more scarce than helium, oil, or natural gas. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
Well, I guess I would like to.
Go ahead.
If I could make a small comment.
Please identify yourself.
This is James Ballard, resident of the Phoenix area. I know that some of these decisions on local impacts can be difficult. One thing we might want to consider presenting in the future, especially if we're going to have landowners or our stakeholders in the area, is specifically what road work is going to be undertaken, for a new location. I think you'll find often that it's going to utilize existing roads, and there isn't any significant construction entailed. But it might be easier to just include that and not have it just be an unknown in people's minds.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Hines, do you want to comment on that?
Other than I pointed out the extra road that would be built, off of the existing lease road there in yellow. If you want to go up one, Dennis, please. So the existing road is the blue line going through L4 southwest and then north to the existing 31-1, and the yellow would be the new road coming off of that road going to the 31-7 location.
How long is that road?
Those are quarter sections, so that's approximately 600 feet. Just eyeballing.
Is there a scale down here? Oh my goodness, Mel.
Each quarter is 1320 feet on the side, so it's approximately half of that just looking at the dealer. So it's about 600 feet.
Any other questions comments from the public?
Yeah, this is Bill. Tony, I got a quick question for you. And it again goes back to the gentleman that raised the point about the roads. On your map where you show historical drill holes, I'm wondering if there might not be a road trace that gets you a little bit closer. You know, you might not consider it an active road now, but it is a historically, you know, kind of disturbed trace. If there's one of those, you can kind of follow and get a little bit closer to the well. It's just a thought.
Yeah, we're using the closest route, you know, that's available to us.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Commissioners, do you have any additional comments or thoughts before we have a vote?
Not disclose it to the public.
Unless it's confidential, I'm wondering what the production from the Coconino was in that previous well.
Current production is less than 20 MCF a day at the moment. Okay.
Any other questions or comments from the public or commissioner?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, who is this?
My name is Debbie Gibson, and I'm with Protect Our Water Arizona. I was wondering if this well that you're allowing an exemption on is going to be acid stimulated in order to get the helium, or is it just a straight well?
In the Coconino, it's just a straight well. There's no stimulation.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mr. Chair, this is Stephen Cooper.
Yes, Commissioner Cooper.
Comment, ocean water is between 34 to 36 ppt, and I think Mr. Hines said the salt water that's in that area is, I think he used the term 50,000. It's quite a bit, obviously quite a bit saltier than the ocean water, and it would be almost impossible to reclaim to use as a commercial source with our current technology.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other discussion before we have a vote? Do I have a motion on this? First of all, do we want to, Administrator Turner, should we divide this into two votes since there's two different things, or combine it into one?
I was just visualizing one, not parsing it out to two. Well, how would you propose to be two?
Well,
One the offset to the target?
Yes. Commissioners, do I hear a motion?
Gail, you're good at motions.
Okay, I'm thinking. I move that we grant spacing exception as requested by Ranger for the help me with the number.
Ranger
31-7 NS.
Well, that's it for that well. Yeah, that the request is based upon.
Any discussion of that motion? Do we have a second?
Mr. Chair, this is Cooper. I second.
Commissioner Cooper seconds the motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, say nay. No nays. Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passed. You have your exception.
Thank you.
Moving on to the general agenda of the Oil and Gas Commission.
Mr. Chairman, this is Tony.
Yes.
The second, was there going to be a second motion for the increased density?
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. Do we have a motion for the increased density?
I move that the density based upon the drilling, secondary, based upon the initial target, we increased the density to for 40 acre spacing rather than the 160.
Any discussion on that motion? Do we have a second for that motion?
This is Bill, I second.
Commissioner Firebrand seconds that motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. You have your density exception.
Thank you.
Moving on to the general meeting. Our first topic is our public minutes from our public meeting of November 20th, 2020. Is there any changes to that those minutes that anybody wants to post?
Mr. Chair, this is Stephen Cooper. Just so that we're dotting all the i's and crossing the t's today, perhaps we should do number 1, call to order, and then the conflicts of interest before we discuss the meeting minutes.
Okay, we had originally tried to combine these two meetings into ones, but I'll just do that formally. The hearing for Ranger is ended, and we will now call to order the general meeting of the Oil and Gas Conservation Commission. And let's establish a quorum. Frank Thorwald.
Dale Nations.
Bill Fire.
Stephen Cooper.
We have a quorum. Is there any conflicts of interest? Hearing none, let's move on to the discussion and consideration of the November 20th minutes of 2020. Is there any discussion on those minutes? Any changes? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I so move.
Second.
You have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we have our minutes are approved. Report of the Oil and Gas Administrator. Administrator Turner, would you proceed, please?
Okay, first item there is rare earth exploration. They have 2 wells that need to be plugged and abandoned. The history has been basically that the commission has moved to take control of the performance bond posted by the operator and plug and abandon both these wells. There were some conditions under which the operator might be able to continue with zone plugging and abandonment. And also he had expressed an interest in deepening the 28-1. We've received no feedback whatsoever from the operator except for a brief email earlier this week that just asked me what the status of things were, and I responded that we're still waiting on the requirements that were set forth by Marta Hoden in a letter to Mr. Brad Haycraft on October 9th, and also expanded upon a couple of emails in mid-November. So clearly the ball is still in rare earth's court. As of this morning, before the meeting, I hadn't seen any additional reply. Is Mr. Bradley Haycraft on the phone this morning? Well, okay, short of that, then all I can say is that I'm proceeding with the plug and abandonment process, which includes writing a scope of work and putting the job out for bid to interested companies that may want to come in, drilling companies that may want to come in and do the job for us. So the next major step will be writing the scope of work, which I will start next week. And at the next meeting, we'll have another report in regards to its status. Marta Hoden will be back at that time, and I'll brief her on what's going on. And so she actually may be running the meeting, but that's where we're at with rare earth. Ranger development, I approved 6 new wells, which are posted on the web. And then today was the approval of the 7th well, the setback and the formation that is also needing special consideration in the Coconino for setback distances on the Coconino. Tony, are you still on the phone, Tony?
Yeah, I'm here.
So
There's 9 total.
there was I may get these numbers confused, a 34-7 that had started drilling last fall and then had to suspend for a brief time. If I got the well number right, was it 34-7?
Yes, the 34-7 PD state Pentadome structure.
Pentadome, yeah. And so my understanding from talking with your driller is that there was some logging work done. I guess the cement bond log was run sometime during the month of November, I guess, and now you've just recently re-entered the well to complete the drilling. Is that pretty much sum up the activity for that well?
Yeah, he's at a depth of 1,414 feet, and they are out there right now, hopefully getting back to drilling out today, tomorrow, something like that. And the last activity was actually in December when they went out and ran the CVL.
It was December. Okay.
It was actually the first week in December. In November was when they actually got down to casing point, got the surface set, got open hole logs, and then got the casing set.
Okay, yeah, that sounds fine. So anyway, the activity from now will be continuous until reaching TD, and then you'll just make a decision about whether put on production or go to temporary abandonment status, or if there's another option that you want to exercise. Is that correct, pretty much?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in regards to Desert Mountain Energy, the 26-1 state was a new well that was drilled, was permitted in mid-November, was drilled in, I think, the first week of December. The operator received a cease and desist order from the city of Flagstaff. The well location is approximately 1.5 miles from Red Gap Ranch, which is a new water source for the city of Flagstaff. But it's my understanding that the cease and desist was issued after the well had been drilled. The operator sent me a brief report that he had attended a hearing in the city of Flagstaff. And I guess there's a temporary restraining order to discontinue any further work until Desert Mountain Energy can either get the order lifted or resolve whatever the issues are. I did not participate in that hearing. I don't know what went on or anything. And he didn't elaborate in his email to me. So activity at that site is currently suspended, and I don't know when it will resume. Basically, he reached TD, and we could say that the well is inactive at this point and probably should go into temporary abandonment status if it's going to remain inactive for 60 days. But I'll be on top of that with Mr. Rolfing over the next month or so. Is Mr. Rolfing on the phone or on the call today? Is there anybody from State Land on the meeting today?
This is David, yes.
So, David, do you have anything else to say in regards to the geologic field plan of operations for the site, or did that all get taken care of adequately, or is that still in process?
It is still in process.
Okay. All right, well, the next thing would be the Pollard Helium 36-1. That's another well that the commission has taken over the bond to plug and abandon. that plugging abandonment will be done probably the first week of February by Butler Oil, who is currently employed by Ranger Development drilling wells for them, but talked to representative, actually talked to Brad Butler himself, and he plans to be at Pollard's site first week of February to do the plug and abandonment. And then finally, Prize Energy, the status with that is that their aquifer protection permit is still in process. ADQ is writing response to comments from the draft permit that they posted. Prize has not submitted any drilling applications to the commission. Is there any representatives from Prize Energy on the phone today? Okay. Well, I'm just wondering if they were on the phone, they might be able to provide any other updates they want to, but that pretty much sums up my report.
Any questions, commissioners? Do you have any questions for Administrator Turner? Hearing none, let's move on to report by the chairman. There are, with MARTA temporarily out, we have no activity on the web portal. Going on to the rules update, I have discussed a week and a half ago these changes, some of the changes with the governor's office, and we'll be having a pre-meeting with the one of the other governor's staffs here in a week or so with regard to the rule updates. Our schedule at this point is to submit the exception requests sometime early summer after MARTA is back, and move forward with from there. Take it out for public comment at that point as well. The AZOGCC meeting, Dale, do you have any updates on that and the requests for information that they've put out to the states?
No, I'm not informed about that, no.
Okay. The last I heard on that was that they have sent out some requests for different questions, and we'll be providing that to them after MARTA comes back. Administrative Turner is swamped at the moment, so we don't have any extra time for that to take place. They have been working with us with regard to the updates. They got us the rest of their evaluations near the end of the last year, and have continued to provide additional information as we needed it. Our website redesign with more public information and so forth, that has continued on. MARTA set that before she went on leave, and DEQ has been working on that for us, and so we should have some changes as soon as she gets back, and to send out to everybody to take a look at for final approval before we change the website itself. I have, with regard to ADQ, I have continued to meet with the director. We've had a number of discussions in the lengths of hours of discussions. In fact, I'll be having another one this afternoon with him on matters related to oil and gas. That's all moving along nicely. There has been, with regard to legislation, there has been some additional legislation dropped as of the 13th here in the state with regard to hydraulic fracturing, prohibiting prohibitions. I have not looked at that yet, but if it's like the previous ones, I would be proposing it. So I've still got to read that and review it, and I will get that out, piece of legislation out to everybody to take a look at. Lastly, I just got it this morning and have not had time to review it. There was a report, national report that the president had asked for with regard to the impact of hydraulic fracturing and the elimination of it. And we will get that out to everybody to look at. I don't have any comments on it. As I said, I have not read it yet. Basically, the title opening statements in it said that it would be something like a national disaster if we eliminated that. But again, I will get that out to everybody and we can discuss that at the next meeting. That's all I have. Any questions? Hearing none, let's move on to the call to the public. During this call, we cannot respond to your any questions you may have. We could put it on our next agenda, but is there any comments from the public? Hearing none, let's move on to review and consideration of future agenda items. We will be reinstating the briefings that we've been having in the past, but we're adjusting those to be able to get a little bit broader understanding for the public as well as the commissioners on what's the various topics. And we've been contacting a variety of groups, and the AZOGCC has provided a list, and I've begun contacting them for that. Is there anything that any of the commissioners would like to see or on any of the future agendas? Hearing none, the only we'll go on to announcements. I would announce that Marta had two children, two babies, and they was no problems, and she is getting used to being a first-time mother. Anybody else have any announcements? Hearing none, this meeting of the Oil and Gas Conservation Commission is adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah.